We'll say some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam साधवेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सागणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण. So let's quickly review last few verses just so that everyone is on the same page, because some of you may not have attended the last few sessions. So remember, we are reading Nectar of Instruction, and we are on verse 7 today, but let's quickly see verse 4, 5, and 6. So 4, 5, and 6 verse, these three verses together were discussing about association with devotees. Okay, so everyone remembers that first verse was about control of urges, right? Vegam, control of vegas like Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. So basically, what are the bodily controls we need? We need to control our body, mind, words, anger, everything. So that was about controlling the body. Second verse was, what are the things we should avoid in this world? We should not consume extra. We should not have extra ambitions in this world. We should not try extra hard for things of this world. We should not engage too much with worldly minded people, should not have prajalpa, gossiping, rumor mongering, like that kind of things. So things to avoid. Verse 3 talked about what are the things we should do to stay active, alive in devotional service. So we should be enthusiastic, we should be determined, we should be patient, we should have association of devotees, um, um, those kind of things. Avoid association of ordinary people, janasangha, that we should avoid, and follow in the footsteps of acharya. So the first three verses gave us 6 principles on how to live in this body, how to live in this world, and how to stay alive in bhakti. Then from verse 4, 5, and 6, we talked about association of devotees. Since, in the Panch Ang Bhakti, A, B, C, D, E, A, the first limb, the 5 limbs of bhakti, the first limb is the association of devotees. So since association of devotees is so important, Rup Goswami has spent extra time in actually discussing how to have association of devotees. So in verse 4, he gave us 6 type of exchanges, loving exchanges we should have devotees in order to increase our attachment with them, in order to increase our prema for them. So how should we exchange with devotees? We should exchange our confidences with them, share our mind and heart with them. We should offer them prasadam and accept prasadam from them. We should offer them some gifts and accept some gifts from them. So like the 6 ways in which we should exchange loving reciprocations, loving relationships with devotees. Then in verse 5, he talked about how to show respect to the devotees. Sorry, can you still see my screen? Something happened. Let me share again. So he talked about how to offer.
Yeah, we were able to see earlier also.
Oh, really? Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So this was I was sharing the verse 4 on the screen. This is verse 5. Verse 5 talked about how to share respects with different type of devotees. So we talked about three classes of devotees, whose association we should take, whose we should avoid, and how to show respects to different levels of devotees. Okay, so that was verse 5. So when you come in association, so association is important, relationship is important with devotees, but then how to associate, how to distinguish between different classes of devotees, and in what mood to associate with them, and how to pay them your respects. Like physically, how do you pay obeisances or give mental respects? What should you do? So this was the proper etiquettes with devotees while giving them respects, that we should give Dandavat Pranam. We should mentally honor them if they are chanting holy names. And for very advanced devotees, we should never have any fault finding attitude, no criticism. Then, about fault finding, Rup Goswami further elaborated in verse 6. So, verse 6 was about fault finding. Now, you're associating with devotees, you're paying them respects, you're trying to have 6 types of loving exchanges with them. But this fault finding tendency creeps in, because this is a very prominent tendency of mind. Mind likes to look for negatives in oneself and in other people. So, since we are so much in illusion, so much in darkness all the time, when we are in devotional circles, also, when we are in the association of devotees, also, we start finding faults. And that fault finding, Rup Goswami compared to like finding faults in Ganga, just looking at the foam, the mud, or the bubbles in Ganga, and to think that she's contaminated. So just like that is an offense, similarly, look for faults in the devotees based on their external features, like looking at their some mistakes they made, some external features like their bodily features, some disease they have, some handicap they have, their skin may not be good, their clothes may have some problems, maybe today they're not wearing tilak and you start criticizing. Maybe today their kantimala is not there, but whatever, today they're not in Vaishnav attire, or they have some affliction, some disease, some problem, something going on, or just superficial external things like they made a mistake while speaking. Let's say somebody was singing and forgot the lyrics of the song, or somebody was playing a musical instrument and was out of sync, out of tune, So you start judging based on the external features of the devotees, and that's compared to finding fault with Mother Ganga. Hmm? So, seeing or judging devotees from a material viewpoint is very, very bodily conscious attitude, and that should be avoided. That should be given up, because we are trying to advance to spiritual consciousness. We are trying to go into Krishna consciousness, which is a very high level. So, we should stop seeing people, and we should stop finding faults based on their bodily features, clothings, or externals. We should not see people from just external viewpoint. This is a very materialistic tendency, like when people go for these parties and all, they will look at everybody's ornaments and clothes and hair and nails, and just pass judgment on that. So if you're doing that kind of thing, you're bringing this type of mood into a devotional circle, then that's very that's very, very fallen actually behavior, and that causes aparadh. So Prabhupada said in the purport that judging devotees based on their externals, not looking at their internals, not looking at the essence, not looking at their intention, but just the externals, shows actually your own bodily consciousness, shows your envy towards the Vaishnavas, and most importantly, it leads to Vaishnav aparadh. Remember that devotees are engaged in service of the Lord. They are empowered by the Lord to perform those services. So we should not, we should see beyond the externals. And we also discussed a very important point, that we should not judge when some of the advanced devotees have superior Vaishnavas have some disease, something they're suffering from. We should not try to analyze their karmas. Karma, the philosophy of karma, the law of karma, is to understand that how our current actions will lead to, how our current good actions will lead to future good reactions, or bad actions will lead to future bad reactions, future negative consequences. So we should use that law of karma to decide our present actions. We should not use karmas to try to dissect or postmortem, a person's current situation. We should not think that, oh, this person is suffering from this problem right now, then that means they must have done some really bad karmas in the past. Actually, that's also a type of aparadh. So analyzing somebody's karma, bringing karma into personal dealings or interactions with people, anybody, not even devotees, anybody, but especially devotees, that's a very that's not recommended. So never use karma for postmortem or analysis of of the current situation. Someone's karma is none of our business. Never comment on this. So this is, if you can see on the slide, dealing with superior Vaishnavas. Be very careful while dealing with superior Vaishnavas, how you talk, pay proper respects, don't offend, don't try to correct, don't try to overly, hear from them. Don't just keep cutting into the conversation, hear from them. Just submissively hear, take instructions, serve them, take guidance. Why is someone suffering? This is, you just offer your compassion, your empathy, your sympathies, but don't try to analyze why somebody is suffering. We discussed all these, that there are many offenses one can perform, one can commit against Vaishnavas in our dealing with, especially when dealing with pure devotees. Looking at their bodily defects, analyzing their birth. Oh, somebody is born in a low family. Somebody is born in in a different country other than Bharat, in a different color. Like Prabhupada gave the example that how his disciples were criticized when they all came to India. They were criticized because they were all white body. So they were criticized that they have, eaten meat in the past, or they're low birth, or they are not born on Bharat Bhumi. So they were condemned. So that's not the vision of a devotee. A devotee does not look at other people through material vision. So somebody's birth, somebody's upbringing, the gender, the clothing, all these things do not matter once they come into devotional service. Bhakti transcends all of that. So once somebody accepts devotional service, once somebody's chanting HariNaam, they are beyond all these external considerations. All these external considerations do not apply to someone who has accepted the path of devotional service. And the best example of this is actually Haridas Thakur. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is such a, who is Krishna himself, who is born in a perfect Brahman family, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is a sannyasi, who has accepted the renounced order of life, none other than Krishna, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family. He was born Muslim. That Haridas Thakur was named Naam Acharya by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are following in the tradition of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so we do not look at anybody's, external considerations. This Haridas Thakur, who's the Naam Acharya, he gave Harinam to a prostitute, to a Vaishya. So you can see that how these external considerations, what somebody did in their past, does not matter anymore once they come into devotional service. So we should not criticize people or offend them by, talking about these externals. This is the example of Mother Ganga, that how Ganga is so worshipable. She's so worshipable that she comes from the feet of Lord. She touches the feet of Lord Vishnu, right? What is Ganga? Does anyone know what water is it? Which water is Mother Ganga coming from? What is the origin of Mother Ganga?
Vamandev's toes, Mataji.
Vamandev's toe pierced the material covering, so water came. But what water was that?
From Himalaya,
From the
Shiva's.
I think it is from the the Vishnu's the Karunadaka from there Karunadaka,
Yes.
from there.
Yes, she is the Karana ocean. Her origin is the Karana Sagar, causal ocean. So she touches the feet of Karnodaksha Vishnu, the Mahavishnu, who is the origin of all the universes. So so when Vamandev's foot or toe touched the covering of the material world, the covering of the material world broke, and this causal ocean came in. This causal ocean is Mother Ganga. And then she was not on the earth at that time. She was brought down by the efforts of Bhagirathi to earth. And when she was coming to earth, to this material world, her flow was so fast that Lord Shiva held her on his head. So Mother Ganga is so worshipable that she touches the feet of Vishnu. She is held on the head of Shiva. And that Mother Ganga, when she is on this earth, you know, when on external considerations, when we look at her, we think, oh, her water is dirty. Oh, her water has some foam or some bubbles in it, you know, some impurities that we see. And then people think that she's contaminated. But actually, her internals, the essence of Mother Ganga is that she is causal ocean. So even a drop of Ganga can purify thousands and thousands of numerous of sins of an ordinary jiva. And these ordinary jivas are criticizing Ganga by saying that she's impure. So that's the offense we commit against devotees when we start looking at the external, some, you know, bodily impurities or bodily defects, because body can have limitations, you know, but devotees spiritually perfect. We have to understand, especially pure devotees, they're spiritually perfect. And even if they are not pure devotees, like people like us, sadhakas, remember it is very rare to come to devotional service. Only one in million will accept Harinam, will be chanting Harinam. Sometimes we say, oh, this person is chanting 16 rounds sola mala, as if it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's 2 hours of chanting. Like somebody has devoted 2 hours every day to chant Harinam. And those people we are blaspheming or we are criticizing, that's so this is not just applicable to pure devotees. These rules are applicable to even devotees around you. Who accepts Harinam? There are very, very few people. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Manushya Nam Sahastreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye. In amongst thousands of people, only one person tries for perfection. And these are the people that are struggling, but they're trying for perfection. So imagine these are the people we are dealing with, and they're not perfect, they're not pure, but even they should not be offended because they have accepted this path of devotional service. They've accepted this, the Harinam. So I'm just reviewing the last verse. And now I have a question on the screen, if you can see. Sometimes, when we are in the path of devotional service, we are in the association of devotees, we come across this situation. I have dealt with this a lot, and I used to ask Nagarjan Prabhu, what is the answer to this situation? So now I have my answer, but I ask you, all of you now, who is better? A devotee who may have some defect in their swabhav, they may have some faults, like maybe they have their speech is harsh, maybe maybe they're lazy, they're not able to get up in the morning, maybe they sometimes get angry, maybe they are very loud or aggressive. They do not fit the picture of a perfect sober person or dheer purush. They do not fit the picture of a perfect devotee, of perfect Vaishnav that we read about in scriptures. So there is, on one side there is that devotee, on the other side there is a non-devotee, a materialistic person who's completely absorbed in this material world. He does not have any faith in scriptures, has no faith in Harinam, has no conviction for Krishna, or a god. He's not God conscious at all. So it's a non-devotee, but he's very well mannered, he's a gentleman or a lady. He's soft spoken, very well dressed, very genteel person, elite person, a very well mannered, perfect etiquette, perfect conduct. So what do you think? Which one is better?
Mataji, devotee anytime. And the person who is acting like a gentleman actually is making a show, because Maya is so strong. He cannot be, because unless a person is Krishna consciousness, he cannot be in that pure sense. He may be acting externally, but internally he'll be completely gone. That's my opinion.
Mataji, I think like that too.
I think both are. In my opinion, both are.
Both are good. Okay. Yeah.
I think the non-devotee that is gentle, soft-spoken.
Okay.
I think it depends on the situation. If it's a man, suppose like if somebody is not a devotee but is a gentle and soft-spoken but is a hypocrite, then that person is no good. But on the other side, a devotee who shows to be a devotee, but or shows that he's chanting, but again inside his heart is with hypocrisy, then even he's not better. But a devotee who no matter, even if he is same inside and outside, but he has anger issues and he accepts this and he's working towards it, that devotee is better. This is what I feel.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
Mataji, I think-
heart we can't see. We don't know anybody's heart or intention, right? We really don't
Right.
know.
Right.
So you can't say that a devotee who's angry from outside, he's hypocrite, because how do you know he does not have a very strong connection with Krishna? Or a non-devotee also, we don't know if
It
he's.
depends on the actions, I believe, Mataji.
So everybody gave a different answer. I'm confused. I need one. So somebody said devotee, somebody said non-devotee, somebody said depends on the situation, somebody said both. So
I think I
Mataji,
say
I want
both.
one absolute answer. There is one absolute answer.
Mataji, somebody
And
is
you can
really a
quote a Bhagavad
devotee.
Gita verse.
Mataji, I
So,
think it's devotee.
Yeah.
devotee. Namita Mataji saying devotee. Ramesh Prabhu said devotee. Navya said in the chat devotee. Okay, so those that are saying devotees, looks like you're in majority. Can you quote a verse from Bhagavad Gita to support this answer? Or those that are saying non-devotee, can you quote a verse? Because we need scriptural reference ultimately. Or from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, scriptures. Ramesh Prabhu, since you mentioned devotee, anything comes to mind?
Mataji, I think I don't know exactly the quote in Bhagavad Gita, but I can say that in one of the Bhagavad Gita shloka, Krishna says, just remember Arjuna, who is a very absolute, who is completely in shelter of me and is doing his HariNaam, or he's under my shelter. He's having all these bad qualities. Rest be assured that he will get into my qualities, no matter what.
So now I'll
Not
tell you
now,
that verse
and
that
in
you're
future.
quoting. So the verse is 9.30. It comes right before Shipram Bhavti Dharmatma. But before that, this verse comes. Api chet suduracharo bhajte mam ananya bhag sadhureva sa mantavya samyak vyavasito hi sa. Api chet suduracharo. Maybe his achar is not perfect right now. Maybe he's a durachari right now. Chet suduracharo. Bhajate mam ananya bhag. But he is engaged in my bhajan, engaged in my service, my devotional service, in hearing, chanting, various aspects of devotional service. He's engaged in my bhajan. Sadhu reva samantavya. You should consider him to be a gentleman. Sadhu. You should consider him sadhu. Samyak vyavasito hisa. Because soon, if he keeps situated in that determination, he will be completely perfected. He will completely perfect his life. He will become perfect. So such a person, the difference between the two, the reason devotee is better is because that devotee, even though he is not perfect right now in his conduct, maybe he has, bad experiences in his previous portion of the life or previous lifetimes. Maybe his upbringing was not so good. So previous perceptions, whatever he has brought into devotional service, but now he has come in contact with Krishna. Little contact with Krishna, with HariNaam, with Prasad. So is much more glorious than somebody's constant contact with material nature. Because the one who has come in contact with Krishna, who has come in contact with sadhus, who has come in contact, love matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi haya. This person has actually hope. This person will not fall down anymore. This person actually has hope. He has light. He is in light. He has come to light. So we have two options. We can stay in darkness or in light. This person has decided to step out into the sun. He's come into the light. So whatever disease he had because of the darkness, that has hope now to go away. Sun was the cure, and now he would be cured because he has decided to stand in the sun. There is the other person who may right now have perfect skin, perfect health, whatever, but he has decided to stay in dark. So right now, just like Ramesh Prabhu was saying, his conduct may be perfect, his character may be good. He will not be able to maintain that for very long, and it will be very superficial. It will not be deep because there is no deep root. There is no root to maintain. There is no cause for that. It's just very superficial. It's going. Jab difficulty aayegi, when problems will come, you will see the true colors. You will see the problems. You will see the problems in the conduct, character. Everything will fly out of the window. So actually, we should not, when we are in association with devotees, sometimes they tend to be harsh. Sometimes they tend to be difficult to deal with. Sometimes they have problems that we can identify because of our dealings with them. We start identifying problems with them. But remember, this is the person who has decided to get the treatment. This is the person who has realized that he has illness and has gotten admitted to the hospital. He is much better any day than the person who's believing himself to be perfectly healthy and is doing all kind of nonsense things in this world, because that person is sure to fall down. He's staying in darkness. He's chosen to stay in illusion. And this person has made the choice to have Krishna in his life. The same difference that with Arjun and Duryodhan. Arjun wanted Krishna, only Krishna, and not his Narayani Sena, whereas Duryodhan wanted Narayani Sena and not Krishna. So the other person does not want Krishna, he wants Narayani Sena. He wants his energy. He wants Krishna's energy. He wants Krishna's opulences, but not Krishna. And this person wants only Krishna. So even though that person, just like Arjun, may sometimes seem to be bewildered, sometimes confused, sometimes falling off the path, difficult dealings, problems with him, his character, his conduct, but that person is keeping Krishna on his chariot. Krishna is driving his chariot. He will soon come back to perfection. So this is, and then there are verses from Bhagavatam also to mention this. But hope that gave you the answer. Let me see what else. Okay, this was that last few verses. So verse number 4, 5, 6. Now let's come to today's verse, because we are running late and it's a very, very important verse. This is probably the most important verse for us in Nectar of Instruction today. We may have to continue it to the next class also. Let's recite and then read this. Tannamarupacharitadi sukirtanan. Sorry, I'm on the wrong verse. Verse 7. I need to read verse 7 today. Nectar of Instruction, verse 7. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Yavidya.
Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya.
Pītopataptarasanasya narochikānu.
Pītopataptarasanasya narochikānu.
Kintvādaradanudinam khalu seva jushta.
Kintvādaradanudinam khalu seva jushta.
Swadvikramaad bhavati tadgadamulahantri.
Swadvikramaad bhavati tadgadamulahantri.
Before we read the translation, let's, and this verse actually also gives the answer to that question that I just asked. Hare Krishna, Ravi Prabhu, thank you for joining. So let's break down this verse. Let's take the Sanskrit, okay, for a few minutes. Then we'll read the translation. It makes sense to you. So, Krishna Naam Charitadi, okay? Krishna Naam, HariNaam. Charit means charitra, or like qualities, activities of Krishna, pastime. So basically, this Naam Charitadi means Naam, Roop, Gun, Lila. Okay, Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, activities, etc. Sitapi Avidya. Sita means taste, or you can say it's something sweet, something very sweet. Prabhupada translates it as sugar candy. Avidya, ignorance. So sometimes due to ignorance, people do not have taste for the Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, which are like sugar candy. Okay, this is the first line. Because of avidya or ignorance, people do not have the taste or taste for Krishna's name, fame, qualities, pastimes, which are sugar-like, sugar candy-like. Why do they not have the taste? Pito uptapta. Pitta means bile. Pitta means bile. Uptapta means disease. People that have this biliary disease, like jaundice. So people that are afflicted by this jaundice, pitoptapta, people that have this pitta disease, okay, disease of bile, biliary disease or jaundice. Rasana means tongue. Tongue ko Sanskrit mein bolte hai rasana. their tongue, who are afflicted with jaundice, na rochikanu. Ruchi means they do not have taste for the sugar candy like Krishna's name, fame, qualities, and pastimes. Okay. So this is the first two lines. So Rup Goswami is giving us an analogy that people that have the disease of jaundice, their tongue cannot relish anything sweet. I don't know if you're familiar with this fact, but people that have jaundice, their tongue is not able to taste anything sweet. Anything sweet you give them, like let's say you give them sugarcane juice, it will taste bitter to them. Okay, people that have jaundice, they cannot taste anything sweet, it tastes bitter to them. Their tongue cannot relish sweetness. So Rup Goswami is saying, similarly, people that are suffering with avidya, avidya is the disease, they cannot taste the Krishna's name form qualities, which are like candy. Just like a jaundiced person cannot taste the sugarcane juice. So what is the treatment? Then he says in the second line, he gives us the treatment. He says, kintu, kintva, but adarad, if carefully, anudinam. Anudinam means daily. Okay, carefully, daily. If this person, jushta, chants. Okay, jushta means takes, to take, like dawai lete na, takes or chants the HariNaam, khalu, naturally, swad, taste, swad means taste, will kramad, gradually, bhavati, develop, tad gada mool hantri, mool means root, and the disease will be destroyed at the root. So what is the treatment? If this person daily, carefully, Anudinam means daily, Adarad means carefully, Jushta means takes or chants or hears, meaning follows the devotional path. Naturally, taste will develop in this man gradually, and his disease will be destroyed at the root. So this verse is telling you what is the material disease we have. He has compared it to jaundice, and then he gives the treatment that you gradually, daily take this medicine of HariNaam, and gradually this jaundice of avidya will go away. Okay. Now let's read the translation. Can somebody read this? And please read the first paragraph.
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. You want me to read the first paragraph, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Purport. Lord Krishna's holy name, qualities, pastimes, and so forth are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet like sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. Nations, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of diseased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to relish the transcendently palatable name, qualities, form, and pastimes of Krishna. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name, and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his ignorance will be destroyed, and his tongue unable to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by the regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Haribol.
Haribol. So this is very nice verse, and I love how Rup Goswami gives these analogies. Like he gave the analogy of Ganga before, and now he's giving the analogy of jaundice. So so initially he gives us the disease or the problem. Then he gives us the process. What should we do? and then he gives us the result. What will be the result? That the disease will be destroyed at the root. That's why we had that discussion just now, that people that are materially afflicted, in material consciousness, they are suffering from avidya or ignorance. And so they have this jaundice, basically, where their tongue cannot taste the candy-like name, form, pastime qualities of Krishna. So those people, when they take HariNaam, when they start chanting the Lord's sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens. So when we are talking about devotees around us, sadhakas, they have accepted this process. So we're not saying they're pure, but they're carefully chanting these sweet names every day. So one day this disease will be completely destroyed at the root. So they have this hope because they're taking this medicine. That's why we were having this comparison between the materially conscious, completely materially absorbed person who's, let's say, maybe an atheist or turned away from the Lord, not God conscious at all, versus somebody who's God conscious, will always have more hope, will always have the best chances because he's taking the medicine, so he will be cured. And again, Rup Goswami affirms that. Uh, so this analogy is very nice, because jaundice is a disease where, because of these bilious secretions, the tongue loses the taste to relish anything sweet. So even sugarcane juice, which is such concentrated sweet nectar, they cannot taste it. It tastes bitter to them. So that's why when when you try to give Harinam, Harikatha, various spiritual activities to people outside of Krishna consciousness, they sometimes have aversion to it. You will see that they cannot sit very long in the class. They're fidgeting, cannot chant the names, cannot sing in the kirtan, do not feel like dancing in the kirtan, do not want to come to temple. They seem to have this aversion. Why? Because everything that is, even though it is so sweet, and to devotees it's very difficult to understand, because they think that it is so, all this is so nice. Why are these people not relishing this? Sometimes we get confused. If this is our natural constitution, if this is the natural tendency of the soul to be related to Krishna, then how come people are having such aversion to Krishna? This is the natural roop, the swaroop of jiva, to be Krishna's servant. Jivera swaroop hoy nitya Krishna das. So when they're being reminded of that position as Krishna's servant, why are they so offended? Why are they not taking to this path so urgently? Why don't they think this is important in their life? Why don't they develop relish for this? And so this is the answer: because they're attacked by jaundice. They have the bhavrog, material disease. And material disease, material illusion, avidya, is so strong that this avidya is a root cause of, it is said that avidya is a root cause of ahankar. Avidya leads to false ego. So they like to stay absorbed in Maya. Let's read next paragraph, and then I'll share a PowerPoint with you.
Can I read?
Yes, please.
Haribol. When a man in the material world takes more interest in the materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be in a diseased condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord, Jivera Savrupa Heya, Krishnera Nitya Dasa. This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. This word of Maya is called Durasaraya, which means false or bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durasaraya becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of the struggle for existence in the material world. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. Should I continue?
No, we'll just stop for a minute. So
Okay.
Prabhupada is saying that the natural condition of the soul is to be servant of the Lord. Our natural constitution is Satchitanand. But when we forget that due to Maya, due to material illusion, then that is called the diseased condition. So the diseased situation is, so healthy situation is that Krishnera Nityadas, that we are Satchidanand Roop, we remember our position as a servant of the Lord. So that's why devotees are in perfect condition. They are understanding their position as Krishnera Nityadas. They may be struggling with Maya, but at least they know their original position, original situation as Krishnera Nityadas. But the diseased condition is that the person who does not remember his situation as Krishnera Nityadas and he thinks he is the Lord, he is in control, he is the proprietor of everything, I am this body. So that is called, this attraction, this absorption in the world is called Durashraya. So he is in the wrong shelter. He's in the false shelter. He's in the ashraya of Maya, which is a durashraya, which is a very problematic situation. This is false shelter, false hope. So this attraction, absorption, attachment to the material world, to the material activities, material things, this Prabhupada is describing as hopeless situation. He says hoping against hope. Very, very powerful words here, hoping against hope. Please think about this very strongly. Hoping against hope means what? It means this person has hopes of happiness in this world. He has understood the happiness to be whatever we get from this material world is the true happiness. He thinks these shallow, temporary improvements in the situation, in external situations, is happiness. He thinks some sense gratification is happiness. So some bodily comforts is happiness. So this person does not know what real happiness is. And for that shallow, superficial happiness, which is so temporary, which is so limited, which ultimately causes more harm than health, which ultimately has so many side effects, that happiness of this material world that ultimately causes bondage, entanglement, for that happiness, this particular person is struggling in this world. He is doing everything to get that material happiness, and even that material happiness eludes him. Even that material happiness is not easy to get. You have to try so hard in this world, even to get material happiness. Like if you want to eat something, like I want to, you have to, I want to go eat something nice, let's say at an Indian restaurant. I have to have a car. I need to have the car that's working. I have to have gas in it. I have to have money. Then I have to drive over there. Then I have to put order there, hoping that they're open. The restaurant is open, hoping that, and even then I may get a side effect. I may get sick after that. So first of all, I had to struggle so hard to get it. Then even though I get it, it is very limited. I cannot keep eating, right? I cannot keep eating. I can only eat to my body's capacity. So my body has capacity for very limited material happiness. I cannot keep enjoying material happiness forever. It is very limited. Even that limited material happiness may still give me side effects. So this is the situation. And for that happiness, people are struggling so hard. Even those efforts keep getting baffled. Prabhupada says there is this struggle for existence going on in this material world. So this is a struggle for existence where people keep struggling for material happiness. Then they make mistakes. They fail in their efforts. Then they try to do something else. In pursuit of happiness and comfort, they keep making mistakes, and then they correct one mistake with another. And this is the struggle for existence going on in this world. So this is the durashraya, and this is a diseased condition of life. So somebody who thinks that they can fulfill all their plans, all their goals, dreams, ambitions in this world, they are actually in a very fallen situation, very difficult situation, and that is a diseased, jaundiced condition that comes from the influence of inferior energy of Krishna called Maya. So this is the influence of avidya. Avidya gives rise to false ego, and false ego means that I'm this body, or I am the Lord. I have lordship. I have control over this material world and over my situation. Let's stop here. I'm just going to take a pause. Let's hear from everyone. Any questions, realizations, anything anyone wants to share? Can anyone give me an example of some happiness that we try for in this world and then that it takes a lot of effort and it is very limited. We cannot keep enjoying it unlimitedly, and then it still gives us side effects. It still causes harm. Any such examples?
Mataji, just I wanted to share. Maybe we have a lot of examples, but in this world, I mean, at least in the material world, I mean, my realization is that the love and affection is all like superficial, meaning like, you know, everybody wants things to be done. Like, for example, there is husband and wife, and if they say, oh, we love each other, we are all together and everything, but sabhi log yahan pe kaam chahte hain, right? So if nobody, if both are not working, then there is a tension. So in this world, there is no real happiness because everybody is. And what I'm saying is, there's always work. So suppose you want to show somebody love or affection, you have to work. And that is always problematic, right? Sometimes it brings results, sometimes bad results too.
Yes, Prabhuji. There are no free meals. There are no free meals in this world.
Correct.
Everything except in the temple. So there is, you know, everything comes at a cost. So there is a cost for everything in this world. It takes a lot of effort. You still cannot enjoy it completely. So like, for example, we are, you know, going to travel in a couple of weeks, but that planning that travel takes so much time, energy, resources that and then even the travel itself is so hard. And then it's over within a couple of weeks. It's over. It takes like couple months or more to plan it, but in a couple of weeks it's over. And because you cannot keep enjoying, you cannot keep traveling forever. You have to come back. Our body has limited capacity of enjoying the happiness of this world. So you have to come back. It's always short-lived. It's always very temporary. It's always very superficial. It does not satisfy the soul. It does not satiate the soul. And it leaves you wanting for more. And ultimately it causes some side effects. It causes with some kind of harm in the long run, right? So, but the Satchidanand, the spiritual happiness is very deep, very profound. So in width and depth, both we should see the happiness of material happiness is nothing compared to spiritual happiness. It's a drop of what is called Brahmanand, and Brahmanand is considered a drop in comparison to Paramanand, and Paramanand is compared, a drop is like a drop in front of Bhakti-anand. So like that, the Anand of Bhakti or service is just on a whole different plane or a whole different level of enjoyment. I've made this on your screen, you can see. So Rup Goswami mentions the disease. The disease is that we have addiction to the lower taste or for material happiness. The cure is that slowly, the healthy state is that, you know, you come to higher taste, so that you give up your lower taste and you come to higher taste and start enjoying spiritual happiness. But this journey from lower taste to higher taste, or from material happiness to spiritual happiness, needs a treatment. And what is the treatment? What is that prescription? So Rup Goswami has given the prescription also, that you should come in contact with Krishna, with holy name, with the services, with spiritual activities more and more. So the more one's consciousness is in contact with Krishna, the more it keeps getting purified, and the more one starts relishing the spiritual happiness. So that's why for jaundiced person, Prabhupada says in the purport that one gives sugarcane juice. Sugarcane juice is what they were thinking was bitter, right? Now you start giving them just a few drops of sugarcane juice every day to cure their jaundice. So the treatment is sugarcane juice for jaundice. So the same thing that they had aversion from, that same thing you give to the diseased person to cure them. So their jaundice will be cured by giving them a little bit of sugarcane juice every day. So, so this person, this soul who was completely Krishna Vimukh or disconnected from Krishna, that person will become now connected to Krishna. So it's like HariNaam is said to be the medicine. HariNaam here is the medicine. And then another example analogy is given that when somebody's sleeping, you know, you have to set an alarm to wake them. So HariNaam is the transcendental sound vibrations that wake up the sleeping souls. So sleeping souls can be awakened by the names of Krishna. And initially they may have some distaste, they may find it bitter, they may not have any relish for it, no charm for it. but you just decide that I have to chant HariNaam in a disciplinary manner, so many rounds, or you give them HariNaam through kirtan, through street kirtan, nagar kirtan, Prem Naam Kirtan on the roads. You give them Harinam through, various ways. In whichever way a Harinam is given, whether it's taken in a disciplinary way or out of spontaneous love, reluctantly, with hesitation, with some doubts, without proper conviction, that's okay. Harinam will still give you the benefit. It's the medicine that will still give you the benefit. तो दवाई कैसे ली जाए इससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? किसी ने आपको बिना बताए दे दी दवाई या फिर आपने मर्जी से ली, इससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? दवाई will still cure you. It's like fire. It doesn't matter whether you know fire burns or not. If you put your hand in the fire, it will burn. It's the nature of the fire to burn. So whether you know it or not. So fire will burn. Similarly, Krishna's name will purify your consciousness, whether you chant. Of course, if we chant with intention, it gives you more benefit, because Harinam, we give all these, material analogies. So it's, but remember, Harinam is none other than Krishna himself. So when you chant with proper intention and absorption, proper attention and focus on the name, then it gives more benefit, of course. But it will give benefit even if it is chanted without proper attention. So Prabhupada in the next paragraphs, actually, let's read one more paragraph. Prabhupada has given the stages of chanting also. In the middle couple paragraphs, I'm going to skip these. Prabhupada is talking about the leaders, that the leaders of human society, they are also blind. They're also in Durashra. They're also diseased people. These diseased people are leading the society. They're the politicians, philosophers, scientists, great thinkers, scholars, or philanthropists. They're all trying to do good for the human society, but they're lacking one important quality of being Krishna conscious. So unless somebody is in the light, if he's himself in darkness, if he's himself diseased, how can he cure other people? If he's himself in darkness, how can he bring light to other people? So these leaders definitely need to be Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying they are actually very sinful people, lowest among men. They are in the Durashra. उन्होंने खुद माया का आश्रय लिया है. So how can they bring, proper, how can they lead people properly? Okay, so let's read these two paragraphs. Can someone read this?
Mataji, I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
The real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. To cleanse the mind and heart from all misconceptions, one should take to this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately free from the blazing fire of material existence. There are three stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord: the offensive stage, the stage of lessening of offenses, and the pure stage. When a neophyte takes to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, he generally commits many offenses. They are 10 basic offenses, and if the devotee avoids this, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensing chanting and pure chanting. When one attains the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called a Bhava Maha Dvagni Nirvapanam. As soon as one is liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can relish the state of the transcendental life. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. So here Prabhupada is now saying that the real disease is in the heart. Before this, he described about avidya. Avidya means misconception about one's spiritual identity. So one thinks that they are this body. They don't understand that they are spirit, soul. They are part and parcel of the Lord. They are servant of the Lord. And the goal of life is to go back to Godhead. Human body is given to us for a purpose. They do not understand these concepts. So they are in misconception. This misconception is called avidya. This avidya is the root cause of ahankar. So this is the foundation of ahankar, or false ego within the heart. So we have to cure our false ego. So Prabhupada is saying that way is to by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Prabhupada is saying, both easy and beneficial. It's so easy, like there is no cost. Everybody has been given a tongue. So everyone can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What is the difficulty? Prabhupada often used to say, what is the difficulty in chanting? It's not like you have to spend any money. There is no money spent in it. Everyone has a tongue, everyone can chant. So what is the problem? Why are we not chanting? Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry, just trying to share the screen here. Yeah. And then Prabhupada is giving us these 3 stages that initially when somebody starts chanting, they chant with aprad. So that is called Naam Aprad. The first stage of chanting is called Naam Aprad. Okay. Second stage is called Namabhas. Namabhas meaning in between the offensive stage and the loving, pure stage. And the third stage is Shuddhanam, right? Shuddhanam. So Naam Aprad, Namabhas, and Shuddhanam. So we are still in the stage of, Naam Aprad, and sometimes we go up to Namabhas. But still, it is better to start chanting. And Prabhupada is saying immediately cleansing will begin. Immediately cleansing of consciousness will begin. Immediately material detachment will start. Taste for the material things and pleasures will start going away. And immediately you will see that anarth nivritti will start happening. The qualities, divine qualities will start coming in and bad qualities will start going away. And you will go through those 9, then Prabhupada describes the 9 stages of devotional service until you come to the stage of bhav and prem, from where it is irreversible, like you cannot come back. So you will go into those advanced stages of devotional service. You will become firmly fixed and you will be on a liberated platform, free of Maya and completely rid of the bodily conception. In the end, Prabhupada talks about how Krishna consciousness is light and Maya is darkness. And those who come out into the light, Prabhupada says, if one remains in shadow, he cannot enjoy the facilities offered by light. And if one remains in light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of the shadow. So, meaning if somebody just decides to stay in shadow, then they will not get any benefit of the light, meaning they will stay in dark, they will become dull and, bad qualities and start becoming lazy, and many things will happen. But when they come to light, they will feel the warmth of the sun, they will feel rejuvenated, energized, and they will be glow and they'll feel healthy. They will feel energetic. So all the benefits will start happening when one comes to the light. So when one comes to the light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness or the shadow anymore. So this is the verse. Let me see if there is anything else. I think that's where Prabhupada ends the purport. He talks about this Krishna consciousness being the light. And I had some important things pulled out about the HariNaam. All of you know the glories of HariNaam, but still we are all struggling with our chanting. I am definitely struggling. And at any time, I feel that any genuine sadhaka is struggling with chanting. I've not met anybody as yet who will say that my chanting is pure or perfect. Is there somebody here? If so, please share. What do you do that makes you chant perfectly? But who all are struggling and who all are?
Definitely
I'm
struggling,
struggling a
Mataji.
lot. Every day I'm struggling.
Definitely, Mataji.
Yeah,
It is very,
struggling.
yeah.
Me too.
It's a big struggle. The moment I start chanting, my mind keeps running that from that very moment.
Exactly. So it's very difficult, right? And you would think it's so easy. We have all been given the tongue, and so what's the difficulty in chanting? Prabhupada used to say, "What's the difficulty?" But so of course there are tips and tricks to use, and some of us know that. We're still not able to apply properly. That's different. First of all, I would like to say at least all of us here should have a set number of rounds that they are chanting, okay? Because it's as you've seen now, this is a prescription. This is a dawai. This is a medicine that you have to take, okay? With medicine, when you go to doctor, you don't argue with him that, oh, I don't like the taste, so I will only drink half the spoon or 1 pill and not take 2 pills, or I'll take, he says take it twice a day. You say, no, I don't like the taste, so I'll take it once a day. Then he'll say, okay, that's insufficient treatment. It will not cure you. So we still, even though we don't like it, we still take the full dose, right? We still take the full dose that's recommended. So some of the times I get this argument that my mind is distracted, deviated, so I cannot chant, so I would rather not chant. Since I cannot focus on it, I would rather not chant. But remember, the struggle for the chanting, struggle for focusing your mind, and even giving that time to just sit and chant, that itself is very purifying. That gesture that I'm spending this much time and struggling with chanting itself is very purifying, because that shows you have taken time away from material world and spared time separately for Krishna. What can be, I mean, Krishna is very, very, he's bhavgrahi, he's your father, he's your parent. He will be so pleased with you that you have taken some time out of your routine bodily duties, responsibilities, and spending time connecting with him, engaging with him. So even though you're not able to focus, decide a set number of rounds, whether it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 21, 25, that's individual, that's up to you. Whatever time you have, but at least decide a set number of rounds, and in a disciplinary way, as if you are taking a medicine, start chanting. Okay, just remember it is a medicine, because we have the bhavrog, we have the jaundice of avidya. So we have a lot of material tastes that are not going away, but Rup Goswami has promised here that by regularly taking this medicine, the bhavrog will go away, the jaundice will be cured. There is another verse that says the same thing in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grayam indriya sevon mukhe hi jivadau swayam eva spurti yada. This verse is actually exactly same as the verse that we just read. This verse says, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi. We do not have taste for Krishna's name, etc. Etc. means other spiritual things also. And our senses are not attached to any of these things. We do not have taste for these things. Our senses do not have taste for these things. But as soon as our tongue starts engaging in the service of the holy name, Swayam eva spurati yada, one will gradually come to understand everything. Everything will be revealed to us if we can spend some time chanting the Lord's holy name. Use that tongue for chanting the Lord's holy name. In fact, I'll show you. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that we should chant HariNaam Nirantar. So look. Nirantar naam lao kara tulsi sevan, achirat pabe tabe Krishnera charan. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra continuously and render service to the tulsi plant by watering her and offering prayers to her. In this way, you will soon get the opportunity to be sheltered at the lotus feet of Krishna. Achirat. Achirat means soon you will get Krishna's lotus feet. So continuously means when you have time, whenever you have a break, you know, you're doing something, so just keep chanting, just keep singing Harinam. And look at this verse. Now this is said by, let me think. This is said by Haridas Thakur. So Naam Acharya Haridas Thakur said this verse. Before I show you this verse, tell me, what do you think? One Harinam will give you the benefit of at least, like, what do you think? One Ashwamedh Yagya? How many? In previous ages we used to do Ashwamedh Yagya. How many Ashwamedh Yagyas benefit will get? One at least, right?
More than that, Mataji.
Acha, kitna? What do you think? Like a koi number?
I can't say the number, but definitely more than one.
Mataji is scared to commit.
Hare Krishna. I think
Is
if
it 1,000, Mataji?
1,000.
But just to think, Ashwamedh, one Ashwamedh Yagya is so difficult to conduct. Think about, Lord Ram did it, Ashwamedh Yagya, at the later on when Love Kush held it.
So are you saying, okay, are you
Yudhishthira
saying
Maharaj did it.
half Ashwamedh Yagya or
No,
one?
I'm saying I know like it's going to be multiple thousands, but it's we don't sometimes understand when we just say these things. It is we don't understand what we are talking about. Like one Ashwamedh Yagya means that that particular king had to have nobody in the whole world oppose them in their supremacy. And that used to be one Ashwamedh Yagya. यहाँ पे तो you can't win from your wife. So forget about all the people in the whole world.
Right. So yeah, so you had to be like the completely supreme king, right? And then you had to chase the horse that is let loose. and many people will try to oppose you, and he had to win over all of them. Anyway, so Ashwamedh Yagya, Nagarjuna Prabhu was saying, very difficult to conduct. Very, very difficult to conduct.
Mataji, what I heard is from Acharyas that actually one Harinam, if we chant, and it's a very pure form, it's enough to liberate us back, take us back to Godhead. One Harinam, that's it.
Prabhuji, both to theek hai. What is it in equivalent to Ashwamedh Yagya, as you were asking?
I think it's unimaginable. Is what I can say.
Yeah, so let's see what Haridas Thakur says. Haridas Thakur says this. Koti Ashwamedh eka Krishna naam sam jai kahe se pashandi dande tare yam. So this is Haridas. This is, of course, he's exaggerating. So understand the mood of Haridas Thakur. Exaggerating means he's not saying that you will get danda by Yama, but still, what he's saying is 10 million Ashwamedh Yagya is, if somebody says, Ek Krishna Naam is equal to 10 million Ashwamedh Yagya. Je kahe, jo kahe. Say Pashandi, he is atheist. Dande tare yam. He will be punished by Yamraj. So 10 million Ashwamedh Yagya jo kehta hai. And imagine that person has to be very, very advanced who's saying that it's 10 million Ashwamedh Yagya. Even that person, Haridas Thakur is saying, does not understand the value of Harinam. So our problem when we are not chanting properly is that we do not understand the value of Harinam. We do not know. That's why I was trying to give you the value of Harinam. It is unimaginable. It is beyond our imagination, the value of Harinam. It is, and we keep hearing this from different teachers. We keep reading this, yet we are never convinced. And since we are not convinced, we are not able to chant properly. So that's our problem. I just wanted to pinpoint that. And there are so many verses that glorify the purity, the benefits, the auspiciousness of Harinam. And it's non-different from Krishna. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinnatvan Nam Namina. Abhinnatvan. Naam or Nami mein koi antar nahi hai. Abhinnatvan Nam Namina. They're identical. This verse that we have on the screen, it says name of Krishna and Krishna are identical. It's Purna Shuddho Nityamukto. It's completely transcendental and completely auspicious. Then this next one is in Padyavali, also by Rup Goswami, that mentions the sweetness of Harinam, which we also sang today. Madhura Madhura Metan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigam Valli Satphalam Chit Swarupam Sakridapi Parigitam Shraddhaya Helayava Briguvar Naramatram Tarayet Krishna Nama. So this is that Ramesh Prabhu was saying, ki, Krishna is saying to best of the Brigus. This Krishna name has so much potency that it can bring salvation. Just one Harinam is enough to bring salvation to every human being, but it has to be Shuddh Harinam, pure Harinam. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the Shikshashtakam prayers where he says how it will cleanse the dirty mirror of our consciousness, right? And how he has infused his names with his power. Krishna has infused all his powers in his names. Naam Namakari Bahuda Nij Sarva Shakti. Sari apni Shakti Harinam mein dal di hai. Tatar Pita Niyamita Smarne na Kalaha. And we should chant it with properly, with niyam, with regulations, with Sankhya Purvak. Actually, the Goswamis of Vrindavan used to chant Sankhya Purvak. Sankhya Purvak Naam Gan Natibhi. They used to chant Sankhya Purvak. That's why we should have a set number that we chant. We should not think, oh, I just keep continuously chanting in my mind and that's enough. No. You can keep chanting continuously in your mind as well, but you should have a set number as well. Because our mind is such that if we are not counting it, we will not be able to pay full attention to it. So whatever gets counted increases in our life. So like if we are counting, people are counting their calories. Calorie counting is a very big deal these days. People count their workout, like I'm doing, 15 sets of lifting 15 pounds or whatever, right? I'm doing this many sets of this or whatever. So people are counting, because whatever is counted actually grows. People count their profits in business, they count their money, they count so many things we count. So HariNaam, which is our actual wealth, which is the actual income of our life, definitely needs to be counted. So we are counting all these material things, all this health and wealth we are doing in a quantitative fashion, but this needs to be done quantitatively as well. Quality matters, but before quality comes, quantity needs to come. So quantitatively, if we can improve, then qualitatively also we will gradually improve. But quality comes later. Typically, quantity will come first. So always chant your names in a particular quantity. This we did. This is the last verse. No, not this one. Yeah, this is the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Samanastam Namami Harim Param. So imagine every day we are reading Bhagavatam. We are reading Bhagavatam twice a day, right? And the import, the conclusion of that Bhagavatam is that we should be chanting the holy names. It says Nama Sankirtanam Yasya, jiske naam ka sankirtan karne se Sarva Papa Pranashanam, all the sinful reactions are destroyed. Pranamu Dukkha Shamanas, it relieves all your material suffering. I pay obeisances to that. Tam Namamim Harim Param. That Hari and his names I bow down to. So imagine that's the glory of the HariNaam, that this Bhagavatam that we say Nityam Bhagavat Sevya. Why are we serving Bhagavatam every day? Ultimately to come to this conclusion that Naam Kirtan is everything. So we are taking Naam, HariNaam so cheaply that we cannot spend, our 1.5 hour or 1 hour or half an hour, whatever a commitment is, properly chanting. And again, I'm saying this to myself because my chanting is very poor and I really want to improve. So I am saying this in front of all of you so that I can improve myself. But I'm hoping that everybody will try to improve their chanting. Because out of all the limbs of bhakti, if you had to reduce it to one limb, it is said that there are 64 limbs of bhakti. Rup Goswami, in his Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, has given 64 limbs of bhakti, 64 activities that we can do to advance in devotional service. Those 64 limbs were further compressed into 5 limbs for us, right? A, B, C, D, E. Panchang Bhakti. So Panchanga Bhakti. So we do A, B, C, D, E. If that 5 limb of bhakti, Panchang Bhakti, had to be reduced further into Ekang Bhakti, then that Ek Anga is chanting of the holy name. So you may be doing deity worship, you may be, eating prasadam, you may be going to the dham and the temples, you may be serving Vaishnavas, but the best service you can do is to chant HariNaam. Because when you do this one service, everything else also happens. So it's not like we are, making other things less important, but other things can be done more properly with better intention, better attention, with more deliberation, if this one thing can be done with proper attention and deliberation. So this is from other Puranas. Now, you always hear from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, but also in Vishnu Puran, Garud Puran, it says, simply by chanting one holy name of Hari, a sinful man can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. इतने वो sin कर नहीं सकता, इतने पाप वो कर नहीं सकता, जितना एक शुद्ध हरि नाम उसको खत्म कर सकता है. If one chants the holy name of the Lord, even in a helpless condition or without desiring to do so, उसको chant करना भी नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी उसने किया, all the reactions of his sinful life depart, just as when a lion roars, all the small animals flee in fear. This is from Garud Puran. So Hari का एक नाम लेने से जैसे कि when lion roars, all the small animals flee. Similarly, that pure name will remove all the sinful reactions. And Rup Goswami is not saying that it will remove only sinful reactions. He's saying it will remove the sinful tendency also from the root. So root cause will be destroyed. Root cause of sinful tendencies, false ego, thinking that I am the Lord, I'm the maintainer, etc. That will also be destroyed. So that's why this is the prescription in the Kali Yuga, because we cannot do Ashwamedh Yagya, we cannot do other type of fire sacrifices. We cannot do deity worship purely either. Vigraha Seva has become very, difficult because all the things that are needed are not very pure. We are also not very pure. Our body is not very pure. It's very difficult to do deity worship actually. But this Sankirtan Yagya, this Japa Yagya, this is the yajna or the sacrifice that is meant for Kali Yuga. So even Bhagavatam says that Krite yadhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yajito makhe dvapare paricharyayam kalau tad hari kirtanat. So Bhagavatam says that in Kali, with Hari Kirtan, one will get the same results that one gets in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, in Dwapar Yuga by deity worship. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanat. By Hari Kirtan, one will get those results. So this is our verse that we read. Remember, the first thing is to realize that you are sick, and that's what we are trying to do. When we preach, we are trying to make other people realize that they're sick as well. We have the bhavarog, material disease, we are jaundiced, and then we try to get them, get everyone admitted to the hospital, try to give them the medicine, right? And start taking the medicine ourselves as well, and recover your health gradually. So the rest of the world, you know, that are materially absorbed, they do not know that they are sick. And they keep getting more and more sick. Actually, they keep getting more and more entangled. This is the last couple things I just want to share very, very quickly. This verse comes in our scriptures. It says, Sulabham Bhagwan Nam Ji Sulbham Bhagwan Nam Jiva Cha Vashvartini Tathapi Narkam Yanti Kim Ascharyam Mata Param. So if you remember, once Dharma asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, what is the most wonderful thing in this world? इस दुनिया में सबसे आश्चर्यजनक बात क्या है? और युधिष्ठिर महाराज ने बोला था, सबसे आश्चर्यजनक बात, the most wonderful thing in this world is that people know that they are going to die, yet they do not believe that. They see everybody dying around them, but they do not believe that they will die. This verse is on a similar line. They're saying, in this world, it's very, very आश्चर्यजनक. Kim आश्चर्यम अता परम. This is a very wonderful thing. बड़ी आश्चर्य बात है. सुलभम भगवान नाम. भगवान का नाम इतना सुलभ है. It is free. It is easy. Everyone can chant. Everyone has a tongue. जीवा च वशवर्तिनी. आपकी जीवा है आपके पास. तथापि नरकम यान्ति. फिर भी लोग नरक में जा रहे हैं. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि इतनी इजी चीज है आपके पास, इतनी बढ़िया, इतना बेनिफिशियल, इतनी ऑस्पिशियस, इतनी स्वीट, येट दे आर ऑल गोइंग टू नरक. भगवान का नाम सुलभ है और जीव भी मनुष्य के वश में है, फिर भी लोग नरक में जा रहे हैं. इससे बड़ा आश्चर्य क्या होगा? सो दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. And then this is Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, when he was being beaten up in 22 marketplaces, he said to those people that were tormenting him. Remember Haridas Thakur, who was a Muslim body, who was named Namacharya, who was chanting 192 HariNaam every day. That 192 rounds, not HariNaam, 192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. That Haridas Thakur said, खंड खंड होए देहे जाए जदि प्राण ताबो आमी वदने ना छड़ी हरि नाम. So he told his tormentors, people that were beating him, he said, खंड खंड होए देहे, अगर मेरी बॉडी को आपने मार के पीसेस भी कर दिए, जाए जदि प्राण, और अगर मेरे प्राण भी चले गए, तो भी हर पीस में से, मेरे बॉडी के हर पीस में से भी हरि नाम की आवाज आएगी और मैं हरि नाम बोलना नहीं छोड़ूंगा. So this was the conviction of Haridas Thakur in HariNaam. This was the faith of Haridas Thakur in HariNaam. And our faith is so loose, you know. We think that it's एक sound vibration से कैसे कोई किसी को भगवत प्राप्ति हो सकती है? How can just by chanting some names, some sound, one can go back to Godhead? We do not have that faith. So इसमें example देते हैं, जैसे कोई एक patient है, वो डॉक्टर के पास जाता है एंड डॉक्टर टेल्स हिम, यू नो, जस्ट ड्रिंक नींबू पानी एवरी डे एंड यू विल बी फाइन, योर गट प्रॉब्लम विल बी क्योर्ड. सो ही सेज, डॉक्टर आर यू किडिंग मी? ये नींबू पानी पीना है, ये बताने के लिए आपके पास आने की क्या जरूरत थी? नींबू पानी आई कुड हैव ड्रंक एट होम. It cannot be that easy. It cannot be that simple. It has to be harder than that. Give me some medicine. Give me some antibiotic. Something to help me. Doctor says, no, that's it. That's all you need. You just need to drink this pani every day, and that's it. He said, cannot be. I do not believe you. You are a bad doctor. You are a fraud doctor because you're not giving me medicine. So you don't have proper qualification. This is what is going on in this world. Sometimes I read like on YouTube comments, people say it ISKCON ye kar raha hai, wo kar raha hai. It cannot be that simple. How can it be so simple to get spiritual perfection that you just chant these names and you go back to Godhead? It can't be that simple. It is that simple. Prabhupada used to say it is very simple. It's simple for the simple-minded people. People that are simple, it's simple for them. But we have become very complicated due to our constant contact with material world. We have become very difficult minded due to our constant avidya, constant contact with illusion. And last thing I'd say is Shankaracharya also said that, "O foolish person, chant HariNaam, bhaj Govindam, Govindam bhaj Moodmate, Naam Smaranad Anyam Upayam Nahi Pashyamo Bhavatarane." That, "O Moodmati, bhaj Govindam, chant the names of Govinda every day. Naam Smaranad Anyam, other than chanting the names, Anyam Upayam, there is no Anya Upay, Nahi Pashyamo Bhavatarane." To get across this Bhav Sagar, there is no other upay in this material world. There is no other upay. So, Kalau, Nasti eva, Nasti eva, Nasti eva. Harer Naam eva Kevalam. Right? So remember that. I'll stop. Sorry for exceeding the time, but this was very important. I hope that we're able to chant with more faith, more conviction, and we need to keep hearing the glories, the importance of HariNaam, because constantly avidya is assailing us every day. Only for a few minutes we are in contact with Krishna, and most of the time we are in contact with the material illusion. So we keep having doubts more than the faith. So doubts keep assailing us every day. So keep hearing the glories of HariNaam for pure chanting. There are so many books, so many japa talks, so many japa affirmations, so many things are there. Okay, I'll stop. Let's hear from everyone. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have a question. I mean, it may be a silly question, but it's on chanting. I
Yes,
know we have to sit and chant, even if it's imperfect. But sometimes when we are like really busy in our life, with our work schedule, with our family schedule, chanting while driving, is that counted?
Yes, Mataji, that's it's not ideal, but it is okay. Actually, when we started, and I'm not going to name the names of our seniors, but our senior, actually, one of our seniors, told us that it's okay to chant while driving. When driving, your mind and intelligence are not really being used very much, because driving has become a very spinal function for us. It's not done on the level of brain so much. It has come more to the spinal level now. So we're not really using our mind and intelligence. So we should be able to focus. Of course, the focus will not be as good as if we were just sitting and reserving a time for chanting. That will be the goal eventually. But yes, if some people have very long drives in the morning or have to leave very early, and many problems are there, better to chant than to not chant. So driving is still better than let's say chanting while something else, watching TV or something. That's not recommended at all. But with driving, at least your mind and intelligence are free. Your mind should be able to focus, your ears should be able to hear, so that way it's okay.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you for the wonderful class.
Hopefully we'll join for japa tomorrow and chant early in the morning. Anybody else wants to share or ask or share anything?
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful class.
Hare Krishna. So definitely we learned how important it is to chant with concentration, with putting our mind, and we also learned how easy it is, but also how difficult it is by hearing from different devotees that how we have difficulties in chanting in our daily sadhana. So yes, this reminder is just like we need chanting regularly. Classes like this are very important because they remind us the importance of chanting and then our constant struggle to try to improve our chanting. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, this is one thing we have to really improve, really focus on. It's one thing that is the hardest, because there is, kirtan is easy. Kirtan, there is instruments playing, you're singing, there are other devotees around you. But while chanting, you are on your own. There is no music and no instruments. So, so that's why kirtan is one of the ways by which HariNaam is introduced to other people. But then when it comes to japa, which is personal chanting, it becomes hard. But yes, I'm sure all of you know the importance of HariNaam. You have heard there are a lot of seminars, workshops, books, lectures, many ways. And of course, most important is if we can do japa conference call or group japa, where we can chant together. That's very nice, because that all like-minded people are connecting to Krishna.
Actually, I just thought, as we were discussing this, maybe we should sit down and do japa sometime. Like we can probably find out a time to, just like we meet for other things and programs, maybe in a program chant one round, and then we can probably plan on a weekend or something to do japa, like just like Gurma just japa circle. We can at least plan to just meet. Doesn't have to have prasadam, doesn't have to make it things complicated. Just meet and do japa together, so at least once in a while we are focusing on the japa whole 16 rounds, sitting together as much as possible, because even online it is not the same as sitting together and doing japa. We know, we have done that, and we feel the difference.
Yes. Yes, we can plan on weekends, just get together and just chant for 2 hours straight or something. Let me stop the recording.